Thank you and welcome to Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Tim Strachan.
That was fancy, dude. That was really fancy the way you just did that. You're getting really good with this stuff.
I'm not
man.
getting really good. I'm not.
I'm sure everybody's appreciating the.
I feel like I'm being left out of
the
something
high
here.
graphics.
The height of graphics. Well, we're you know what? We're evolving. He's Kevin Ricca.
We are evolving. We've always been evolving. We will continue to do so, but it's a great time to evolve. Mock draft week. Rough draft week.
It's a rough draft. We still have another whole week to go. Want to say welcome to all the good folks who have been keeping it real on the board here in our absence.
How was your
Ken,
vacation?
EO, Greg, AGH, Rhett.
What's
Mike's
up,
off.
I haven't
homeboys?
even asked you. How was your
His mics
vacation?
are off.
How
That's
was your
embarrassing.
Oh,
I think I know why.
vacation? All of them were off.
Probably. Let's see here.
See, you're all wrapped up in the graphics.
I am.
remember T was talking about how fancy you were?
You got too fancy, man.
I know, you jinxed it too. You guys were just having a great time. I was pleasantly unaware of anything, as usual, with no commentary.
I have to own some part of that.
I mean, I think so.
I think they can actually also mess with us officially. I mean, I will say it's easy to say that the mics are off for Greg.
Are the mics on or the mics off? Low, lower, higher. More money, more problems, Ken. You know what they say. Low, high, low.
Just Ken is on. Oh, I see what they're trying to tell me that that I'm the only one talking. Now that's not cool.
We're all gonna have to lean our heads together and talk.
That's
into
not cool.
one. No, I'm not
Sorry.
doing it. I'm out.
You know, you did this whole thing with your mic earlier, and I think you messed it up.
Hello.
Yeah, dude.
Hello?
See if you're still connected. Robert Cohen.
It didn't.
Robert, can you hear us, Robert?
Yo. Hey,
Did I pull
what?
myself out of the machine?
Do it. Draft week.
It's draft week.
Stuff. Rough draft.
We're gonna keep talking. We're just gonna keep talking.
Did my mic come out
Now all
on
off.
that end?
I don't think we should keep talking if we're not on.
No, we shouldn't keep talking. If we're
Ken,
not on.
go. Do the show. Kevin, I watch.
You're doing a great job. We're all so proud.
I'm seeing sound. I just wish I could
Are
help.
we good? Not good.
I think they're gonna say once again that it's just me, but that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, Kev, we know. Ken's trying to just cut us both.
You
out.
you jinxed it by saying we were good to go. Like I was
You did
getting
something
good.
wrong.
Yeah, for God's sake.
Well, shit house rats.
Tim is definitely off. I'll fix it. I'll let you open up a space. I'm just gonna jiggle the handles.
He says it's just
Hello?
you and it's very low volume.
Hello.
Shit.
All right, I think I got us.
Here you were boasting about all the sound you fixed.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Hello.
It took like how much whiskey did that take for us to fix the sound? Go ahead, talk now.
Yo, hey.
Yeah,
Hello.
I bet you they can hear you.
What?
Let's hear
What do you mean?
guys. I bet you they can hear you. I think
Sorry about the sound issues. Ken also is very good at fixing sound, and I think he just did. Hopefully, let us know if you did.
Oh, and we'll get the old commentary.
Please tell us you're gonna hear our.
I bet you they can hear us. No.
Better, but can anyone hear me? It was my.
Hear you.
Hey, Red, that's good. That's good. That makes one person on planet Earth all week.
All right, so.
Hey, ho, ho.
1, 2,
hello.
3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Pass me those headphones.
Okay, apparently mine's gotten better. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your patience,
Hello.
your loyalty, your overwhelming kindness.
Yes.
He just goes over and starts just touching everything, slightly.
Wow.
And then what happens?
Softly.
Hello.
That's what.
Hello, hello.
Don't do it under the table, though. When we're
Hello, hello.
Yep,
You
yep.
know what?
Is that all yep?
So, hopefully.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Well, it's
We
better
appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
almost drank your. I reached for a drink. I needed one so bad. I reached for your Diet Coke. That's how.
You don't know what's really in there.
We had like the modulating sound, and I figured out how to fix that. Brad Ripito, welcome to the show tonight. That is a huge
What's
win,
up, dude?
10-9 win for the cadets over Bullis in the local battle of top lacrosse programs. Took an L to St. Anthony's, but that's okay. St. Anthony's is #1 in the country, and you can't beat them every year. You can play them every year. I like the fact that they play them every year. That's just a little inside local lacrosse, high school lacrosse talk for you guys out there. That's all in the name. Welcome to Thank God It's Tuesday. Thank you for sound. Thank you for the microphones working. We're 1 week away from the draft. Two shows away from the draft, and
9 days.
9 days from the draft. That's right.
It's a big deal, man.
It is a big deal. It's going to be fun. It's now I can do this again. The draft is always fun no matter what, because we love the off season and we kind of get into all the comings and goings of free agents and rookies. But I just, from now on, I feel all right. Let me
Tell us how you feel, Ken.
Get it out, Ken.
I'll give you this.
Take a deep
in
breath.
We're here. T and I
Take a deep breath.
we're on either side of you.
I'll give you this.
We can bring a thing over for you. Put your
Super
feet
fast.
up.
Things began to get colored by Dan Snyder being our owner over the years. Now, I might have been like one of the last people to finally kind of succumb to that thing, right? But it did. It happened. And so I'm excited because for the first time in over 20 years, and really, it wasn't all those 20 years weren't crazy negative, but it got so bad at the end that it just feels like it was 20-something bad years. All this stuff that we're going to be experiencing that we've loved because we're such big fans and we love football, all the stuff that we're experiencing is going to come Dan Snyder-less, and I'm ready for that part of it. I know people. I fixate on it. I know I've fixated on it over the years, but like it's happening, and now we're going to get to enjoy like awesome football, Redskins, Commanders stuff, and it's going to be in the way that we've been wanting it for a long time.
Hit delete on the memory bank.
Yes.
Erase Dan Snyder
Yes.
from the hard drive.
Maybe that's
would
why
be
you look
nice.
so good, Ken. You look so refreshed. I told you.
Damn, dude.
I was playing him some compliments.
You look like a
earlier.
pork chop on a damn cartoon.
I dropped
Nah.
about 180 pounds of evil. Is that what you're? But we all did, really.
Oh, we did.
Is he
We
180?
all did.
He's like a 185-ish. maybe
Yeah,
190.
yeah. Black-hearted dudes tend to weigh way more. They're dense boned, so they can
They are.
so they can rot in hell longer. Sorry.
It's
Sorry.
true. It is true.
Big
They
bones
last
been my
longer.
downfall my whole life.
Yes. Gigantic bones. So the draft is coming. It's going to be awesome because it's the draft, and the draft is fun, and also because of the stuff that we're dealing with as fans as well. But we're going to talk more about the draft as we move forward. I feel like I'll make that my one owner topic comment of the night, or at least in terms of like an official segment. Do you guys have anything to add about what's happening in the sale process?
It's just so argumentative and confusing and
Yeah.
blah blah. But if the NFL has the main deal in their hands right now, is what I think we understand is happening. It sure will be nice to have some experienced franchise owners. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
That is the biggest upside to who it is. Yeah.
he's not Dan Snyder, step one, and then
Well, that's the most important.
yeah, and he has a track record as a professional owner, and it's not bad.
yeah.
It's actually pretty halfway decent.
I know.
A guy named Magic Johnson right there help him out a little bit.
This is a huge win. And that's why we never got married to the idea.
Brian
of
Dave's trying to
Bezos.
steal it though.
I was
Yeah.
hoping you guys weren't going to say his name because that
He's not
dude,
getting this team.
that dude has one foot
Brian Davis
behind the
and Leitner
3-point
going for
line,
the
and the other
steal.
one is in Saudi Arabia with the government. This is so creepy.
He's not-
This is the worst.
It
Sean
is-
Merriman
it
is
is
like,
weird.
stop it. I shoot you for
saw
3.
that.
I got 4. There's a million athletes. This guy is
Yes.
weird.
His
Listen,
last deal fell through. The whole financing fell apart.
I
no way Brian
I
Davis
can't
gets this team.
imagine. He is trying to gain some clout for his energy company over Middle Eastern
Yeah.
seas. I don't understand.
I'm not with it.
why. That's what that. So this might be the last like one of these deals that Daniel Snyder like. For every Daniel Snyder, there has to be a deal to get him out, right? And this was full indemnification. This was $7 billion upfront cash. Like, shut up.
Oh yeah. This
Just
is
shut up.
This is the deal. we
Leave
don't
us
want.
alone. We've finally got a reputable dude, some
Yes.
local guys. We've gotten Magic Johnson, perhaps, wants to be involved with us. Like, come on, man. One of the greatest winners in sports history.
Yes. And stories.
And now Brian Davis is trying to pull the old Snyder on us. Come on,
We went to
Snyder.
Duke. Come on.
I
We
don't
went to
care.
Duke.
That's two separate things. That doesn't mean he's anything. I don't give a crap. He's terrible at business.
I'll be honest. I was a little bit disappointed it wasn't Bezos. That Bezos was, out. I was kind of in the camp that was what it was going to be. The best owner of the biggest
Sure.
business ever made. But
This guy will do just fine owning the team.
just fine.
He'll do just fine.
Well, I was hoping Scooby Doo style that when he
can't
pulled
do
the mask
worse.
off of Davis's
I
guy,
don't
it wouldn't
think
be
you can do
Saudi
worse.
Arabia. It would be like Bezos.
Saudi
Like, and it wasn't for it's Bezos. Like, come on.
Like an,
Not- it was-
an episode of Scooby Doo.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Would have
is-
got away with it too if it wasn't for you.
Ugh.
Rascally owner.
That's not that juicy out there in Saudi Arabia.
There is a tiny concern that that the league could be like, yeah, we're getting rid of Snyder, but sure would be great to get a terrible owner, to replace a terrible owner with a terrible owner because we can beat up for the next 20 years.
What? What? He
but
gave
no,
us
no, no,
$7
makes
billion,
no
no
sense.
problem, and he
No,
said it
it
had
makes
nothing
them
to do
all
with the
better. It
LIV
doesn't-
tour.
No. If they go with the evil money,
Yeah.
that's just replacing.
They're
evil
not.
with evil.
There's no way they can go with the evil monies because that opens up more evil monies.
It's not.
And we all know how that
it's
goes.
not gonna be Brian Davis, and
Please.
don't look for that surprise winner. I think that I will say I will continue. The only thing I'll say about the Bezos versus Josh Harris, if it's Josh Harris, great. I'm good.
I don't want Bezos either. I just wanted it to be.
If it's Bezos, great, whatever. But I will say that it is not decided. I just hope everyone just remember. Like the league could say, fine, Josh Harris, we like him. He's a known quantity. He's a fellow billionaire, and he's down with the eyes wide shut scene. We're down. It's all gonna be good.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, they
What?
get to have. We have already
Vanilla
gone over
Sky?
this.
What do you want?
I thought that was the whole reason why Dan Snyder's on his way out.
No. I'm just saying they get to pick who comes into their club, not Dan Snyder. So Dan Snyder is, because he wasn't walked to the door, he hires Bank of America to run this whole process. He does a deal with Josh Harris, but you've seen it all over the place. Non-exclusive, tentative, handshake, blah, blah, blah. That's because of one thing. The owners decide. And at the end of the day, I still believe in my heart that Bezos is at least still a consideration only because of that reason alone. Now, do I care if it's Bezos or Josh Harris? No, not at all. But the owners are a billionaires club. They get the call, and effing Dan Snyder on the way out by not taking the guy that he wanted to buy the team, I wouldn't put it past this group, especially to get a 125 billionaire in the club. So we'll see. But
All right, well.
yeah, it very well just could be a rubber stamp
Effing a
Josh
guy,
Harris.
How about Apostolopoulos just sitting there in the closet? Sorry, T.
Effing a guy, eyes wide shut style is not what I want.
Dude, that's why I don't.
That's good.
That's why we can't.
Sounds really,
We're clear.
really weird.
We can't over, do it on the caring who gets in because it's like literally like at another echelon of the universe that we're not even close to. So anyways, that'll be decided in the coming weeks, hopefully weeks and not months. But it's not going to be Dan Snyder. That makes this offseason. That's like when we started offseason on the Brink. So this is episode 11. After a couple of a COVID week and a spring break week, we're like 13 to 14 weeks into the offseason. What were our goals when we ended the offseason? It was new owner was number one. Obviously, new stadium is right there with it.
That's my biggest.
That's happening
That
on
was
day
one of
one.
my biggest hopes for Bezos because
No, it's
he
fine.
could just drop it. and
whatever owner is,
there's no drama. You don't have to look. The city doesn't have to get involved and all that stuff.
they can raise. The billionaires can raise billions of dollars. Bezos would have been nice because he could have reached under the couch cushion and pulled out the amount of money. But
I'm glad you said couch cushion. Yeah. There were so many places that you could have said that he could have reached.
My hands are above the table. I'm going to keep them there for a little bit.
Yes. I got my eye on that clown hand now. It'll pop out at minute 45.
He can raise the money. Whatever, every penny that the team needs to build a stadium on the RFK site, I believe, will be readily available. And as soon as they announce the deal, the city will be banging on the door of that person.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang. All right. So we got a new owner. A new stadium is in the offing. And that's like 2 for 2 right out of the gate. Free agency, we'll put that outside for a bit because we've talked about that more than anything else. The draft situation is great because, again, it brings us at least 1, hopefully 2, if we're lucky, 3 starters. Because we actually have holes that can be filled in the first 3 rounds, even though the 3rd round pick is compensatory. So we're going to talk a little bit of draft tonight, but before we get to the draft, we do have one other issue that's an off-season issue, and it hasn't been like the house is on fire, we're freaking out thing. So we're not making it that. But there is a decision on the part of the franchise on whether or not to pick up the option year in Chase Young's contract. It's just a standard decision, and Ron Rivera has handled this already. He did it with Payne. He's seasoned, and he also has some credibility with the player. In this case, Chase Young. He reported OTAs. That was step 1, because they were worried that we were saying prove it to us.
Well, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Got to show up.
Yeah.
But so let's break down without me saying what we should or shouldn't do. It's extend the option, don't, and if he has a big year, what's the franchise tag worth? What's the top 10 pass rushing salary worth? What's the difference between all of these things? What's the risk? So obviously everyone knows that the 5th-year option is worth
17.
We can get him for $17 million guaranteed in year 5. It's a pretty straightforward thing. There's a lot of reasons why you probably just say yes and do it. We probably already said most of all those reasons. Let's just say they decide, and this is just a shorthanded, and then you guys say what you would want them to do. Let's say they decide not to extend the 5th-year option on Chase Young and make him play on a prove-it year in year 4 of his career. Going into year 5, let's say he has a good year. Let's just assume that he's going to play well enough to continue employment in the league and at a level commensurate with what we believe of his abilities. Top 10 pass rusher money, annual, average rate. $20 million?
Yeah, it's above that.
Well, right now, the top 8 is 20. Now, that average is down. You average that because the top 2 or 3 are much more.
I mean, I'm just thinking about what Deron Payne just scooped up and what next year's defensive tackle is going to be scooping. That's in the 23 to 25.
Well,
right. So that's got to average out. I just thought it'd be higher than 20. So,
franchise
so
is
if it's
24.
20, then
franchise is
so
24.
what?
Yeah.
I mean, because guys like me, what's the difference between 17 and 20 million, really? Like, to me, what's $3 million to a guy like me?
Forget about
It's so funny to look at those numbers when we're talking about football and be like, 17 or 20, who gives an ass? $3 million, I might cut off every one of my pinkies, toes, and
20
fingers.
for multiple years, not 17 for one.
If you look
Right.
at it that simply, it's almost a no-brainer that you do pick up that 5th-year option, and you think maybe they haven't done it just because of the owner situation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some handcuffs on what can or can't be done or negotiated or signed right now. Maybe that's part of the problem. But I think it gets murkier, and I know you probably didn't want to bring this into the discussion, but you have Montez Sweat on the other side, which I think makes the idea of, from a business standpoint, an automatic picking up that 5th-year option a little bit more difficult, and maybe. I don't know.
I just think that the reason why it's taking so long is he's played 12 of the last 34 games. In those 12 games that he's played in the last 2 seasons, he has 1.5 sacks and 5 QB hits. Yeah. You are looking at a shit ton of money for a guy that hasn't been out there. And I know he won the Rookie of the Year, and I love him, and I know what he's all about. But that is risky as shit on paper.
And
No
it's
doubt
not
about
shit
it.
talking a dude. I mean,
No, it's not.
He knows it's a business. He knows that you get paid for your production, right? I mean, isn't that the whole problem right now? Also with Lamar Jackson's deal is that he's a great player, but if you really break down the numbers,
he's produced.
Well, Jalen Hurts just helped him up, gave him a
Oh,
huge
yes,
boost.
yes.
You need a boost? Here you go.
But it's all about
Come on,
production, right? It's all about and it's just it hadn't been there, and because he's been unhealthy, is that
True.
unfortunate for him?
Specifically.
Yes, but you don't anymore in this league get paid on potential or what you are, people think you're going to be able to do. That happened a long time ago, and that's been restructured. And now it's about what have you done? And he knows that.
And I get it. And I think financially, I mean, on paper it's irresponsible, but he brings so much more to the equation. It's not that simple.
Yep.
He is obviously a hard worker. He's obviously a leader. He's obviously a cog of what happens at the park. We understand what he is socially as a man to this roster. Everyone loves the guy. That doesn't add up to dollars.
Personally, we don't
I'm just
want him
saying
going
that
anywhere.
that's part of it. That's part of it. So right now, and by the way, you know what? If he goes out there and balls out, and we sign him to a multi-year 20 whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But I'm not sure about the ego here. Do we hurt feelings? Are we worried about feel bads in this scenario?
That's the only thing I'm not worried about.
Right. I can't be.
Yeah, we
You
can't.
can't. You can't worry
can't.
about what you can't control.
pay-
If someone's going to be sour about $3 million when you already
maybe
make
Sweat
17
won't
playing
be,
ball.
but his agent will. And
Well, the only idea
they'll
about
make
not-
they'll
but-
make it a pain in the ass.
Well, that and the pain in the ass resides in what you just said. Also, if we don't, then we have two guys in a contract year on either edge.
That's what I don't want.
So all of a sudden you're looking at both your defensive ends up for the same money at the same tier almost. I'm guessing right there, and that's impossible. So at that point, you're just that causes division in a locker room.
You could make the argument that exercising the 5th-year option on Chase.
It saves you money.
Well, I'm just saying it could be the reason why you're able to bring back Montez Sweat at all. Because
Exactly.
If you have 17, if you have Chase for 17, then all of a sudden, and also, you're two starting pass rushers in a contract year. I mean, I like the idea.
With your defensive tackle sitting there holding two big ass bags.
Yeah, and it's not money poorly spent. Like people think that these aren't luxury contracts. Like these are the heart and soul of our team. Like the defensive line is our best chance to win games.
Yep.
And that's how we built the team, and so that's where the money should be. And if you are in any way uncertain of Chase Young's future with our franchise, if you're Mayhew or if you're one of the Martys or Ron, I think you still exercise it because for $17 million option year, you make Chase Young that much more attractive in a possible trade. If that's what you're thinking at all, if there's any thoughts, you're like, you know what, we're going to give Montez Sweat some money and we're going to go with the rotation and get some value. I mean, you don't like you get all the value of Chase Young in the upside of his play and the possibility of his future here, but also if you're still not sure, I still think it's worth $17 million option year to find out.
And that's fine because if you're committed to investing at this position, the D-line, and if that's the commitment, which it has been, you understand where we are at linebacker. We have like 3, and we're not putting a ton of draft capital into it after Jamin Davis. We'll see what happens with our secondary moving forward, but right now we understand that we've devoted a majority of our dollars and our percentage of our defensive salary cap amount to that defensive line. Why stop investing in it now?
Yeah.
And we'll find out a ton about this in 9 days.
Yes.
When we see, because there is so many rounds. If you guys have been mocking out with your mock out like I have, and there's so many rounds, you're like, wait, who the hell should we take here? Like, what in the hell are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We already talked about O-line and corner, blah blah blah, and then everyone else has their choices. But based on who's available in what round to your need, it gets bonkers here. But I think we'll find out. You see a defensive end come off that board, I think we're going to have to start following the money and following the draft money at that point. So,
well, that's the beauty of the guy like the Alabama kid Mathis, the who broke his knee and whatever else, tendons and all of it on his leg, Philander. The ability to have frontline D-line guys, and as long as we have Payne and Allen locked down in the middle, like then you're allowed to make a luxury pick in the top 3 or 4 rounds on a guy who can come in and play behind those guys, and they can play on rookie contracts for nothing. And if they stay healthy, you don't have to do it again for 3 years. I just hate when people say it's too much money on your defensive line. I'm like, no, those are 4 starting positions, arguably our 4 most important starting positions outside of the quarterback in like who we are.
If you don't want the
a lot of people saying that have that invested in one guy on their squad.
Yeah,
and we'll get to that. But right now, isn't that the first line of defense? Isn't that shouldn't those be the baddest MFers to look at coming off the bus? Because right now they are.
Yeah.
And we need that production to match this year. But, we're not that far off in the past. And coming off injury with Montez, let's see what we got this year. Let's see what these guys do. But we got till May 2nd for Chase to make this decision, so we don't have that ability. But I think it all comes down to I do not see us not signing him to this deal. I think him showing up for OTAs and showing that he's healthy right now.
I do think the odds are stacked in favor of taking the 5th-year option on him.
I think so.
I don't think they're ready to call it quits on him at this point in time for all the reasons, whether they want to keep him or trade him.
And this is
personally, I'm betting on Chase.
Personally.
Because
of course.
he's my DeMatha boy. We know what he's made of. We know where he's come from. We know that he's not afraid of taking on a challenge. And, we've seen him step it up. He's a worker.
Right.
He's going to make it work.
Guys, he's not a partier or a club guy. Yes.
It's in my heart. I want him to stay here. We all want him to stay here. We don't want to see him go do something somewhere else.
But if he does, that compensatory is going to be saucy. It'll be so compensatory.
It will. And also you take the compensatory calculation on multiple years as well. I mean, if we lost Sweat and Chase in the same year, then we still can't get better than a 3rd round. But if you lose them in separate years,
that would be more.
We will have such a shitty pass rush.
Yes,
so
yes.
You can compensatory that. Well, I don't know how you compensatory a shitty pass rush, but I'm sure they'll figure it out by then for us. But.
And I think that if you're able to pay a guy the market rate, which again is in that $20-ish million annual range, a guy like Montez Sweat isn't Bruce Smith, but he's not the second coming of Lawrence Taylor, and he knows it, but he's good. I think that if you have a guy like that who knows he's going to get his market rate for a 3 or 4 year deal, and he gets to play
better,
and he gets to play next to Allen, Payne, and a guy on the other side like Young. Like they got to understand also, like they're if you're Montez Sweat and you have those 3 guys, you're not getting doubled much. You're getting doubled some, but they're not shifting pass blocking to you every single time. You're not getting a tight end chip every single time. You're not getting a running back every single time.
Part of the reason you invest in those front 4 is so you can rush 4.
Yes.
You're not investing in the dudes that you're sending on the blitz. If you don't have to blitz many of those dudes that you're paying, then you don't need those dudes to be that athletic, do you? Yeah. The investment resides in the defense, and it's exactly what we're trying to do. And what Ron's trying to say in the offseason is he finally thinks it's coming to a play. I hope he's right. But we've been drafting for this specific defense. We've been investing this way for these particular reasons. It's about time that we saw some action on the backside here.
Yeah, and hopefully players and their agents, at least some of them have that conversation where they're like, "Hey, listen, I can get you $4 more million a year, but you're going to be doubled every time because the 3 guys next to you are trash. Like you're going to get the crap beat out of you. You're going to get a tackle, a tight end, a guard, a running back, a fullback. You're never going to see the light of day."
Can you monetize the money you're going to make as being on a team that with more wins, more more playoff wins, possibly a Super Bowl win?
Guys will take on triple teams for wins. Yes,
sure.
Do you want to squeeze out $4 million in another place where you're going to be in limbo, or you want to play in a place where you're going to make money? You're going to win. You're going to have an opportunity to
I respect a guy for getting what he can get and making a good, sound business decision. But I think there's ways you can sell the opportunity because you're going to have the opportunity to potentially have Allen, Payne, Sweat, and Young for a 4 to 5 year.
What would that nickname
stretch.
be?
What's that?
What would that?
It's going to have a nickname. If they stay together for another couple of years, it's a straight up nickname because that's where we're going with this team.
Well, if they stay together for 4 more years, you're looking at our linebacking core right now. Right outside, middle, and left outside. Reverse it on your screens, but let's just say, I hope those guys make all the plays.
Wait, am I
huge
middle?
advantages.
I'm the shortest
You're,
guy, I
you're
have
right
to.
here. You're
That's
sitting in
Can
the
you imagine
middle.
what we
True.
could do to the salary cap? The three of us, we open up so much.
Honestly,
room.
guys,
I'm getting my money. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Hey, I just need a little bit.
30,000 a year. I want, you know what? Ted Danson money. I want Ted Danson money. And I won't settle for 1 penny less than Ted Danson money. I know we said we were going to talk a lot about free agency, but I had one thought in my spring break, because you know what? You guys know how much how important I think centers are.
a grand total of one thought over
Yeah,
spring
I
break.
had one
Hang,
thought.
hang on to it. Don't let me interrupt.
I almost lost it. But centers are so important to me, and obviously I think it's fair to say
To you personally?
I've lusted after a center or two in the last few drafts.
Yes, you have. Yes,
But
yes.
that's not what this thought was about, Kev. The thought was that the free agent signing of Gates.
I can't get what your thoughts are about out of my head, sir. Give me a moment. Proceed.
There's like all of a sudden a center needy situation. There's like 6 or 7 teams that are legitimately.
Now you invent center needy
It's
after what you just said about lust.
Yes.
Like, Jesus.
We have a
Cough
center
it up.
needy.
Eyes
Aaron
wide
Golo.
shut. I mean,
Do
what's
not Google
going on with
center
him
needy.
tonight?
You do not want that on your search
What'd you
history.
do on vacation?
Whatever you do, it is not a pretty situation. But that's why I do it for you guys. Center needy is a new thing, and it's happening all over the league. There's like 6 or 7 teams that are legitimately center needy, and there's like only 2 or 3 centers in this draft that I think we talked about already that could come in and be a guy. And Gates, I think, could have gotten paid a lot more a month after he signed with us. I think the way that the landscape changed literally in the last 30 days is making that Gates signing look better and better. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be all pro or be the next great whatever, but I think we got better at center at a time when the league wasn't paying attention. They were looking at fancier, shinier stuff, and I think we got better at center in a way that we wouldn't have been able to if we didn't do it on that day.
Yes, but old broken leg. Oh, he's got so many broken legs.
He does.
Sorry, only one of his legs has so many broken bones in it.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't convince. Whatever it is, there's a ton of broken stuff. And I don't know that he is definitely going to be the dude. I think we could draft a guy. And,
I do too.
Yeah,
We still could. I'm just saying.
and I'm not sure, but I keep feeling that perhaps we're moving
Broken legs
forward.
doesn't sound.
No.
Yeah, you think we.
As each day passes, I feel like Rouillet is going to be in the rear view.
I do too. I think that's money.
It's a
that we're
lot
gonna
of
spend.
money.
I don't like it. Yeah.
I know,
I don't like it.
he's always broken too. So we just got a lot of broken centers. We have a lot of broken guys at center. So let's get a new one that's not broken.
I think so. Like, unless there's somebody that comes along, like there's going to be money. We can spend money after June 1st. We know it. There's going to be guys who can help us that are going to cost money that Chase Rouillet's money could go towards. But the same reason why we're talking about Chase Young showing up and telling guys and showing that he can do it. If Chase Rouillet has any healthy days in front of coaches in the today,
And he's on
tomorrow,
the comeback.
yeah,
He is.
and they start to get comfortable with it. Like, well, hey, I know this player. He knows us.
And he was
knows what
damn
we're
good
trying to
for
do.
us.
Yes.
Damn good,
And
but-
he's not breaking the bank. He's just paid more than you would want to pay for a guy who's had some issues.
$12 million will come in pretty handy.
It's a lot of money that can be used a couple of different ways, but
$8 million, sorry, but
yeah. The if you think about the places where you would spend money like that after June 1st, at that point in time, you've probably drafted some offensive linemen. Hopefully, you probably drafted a cornerback. Hopefully, you're not looking for a big splash at wide receiver. I don't think. You're not. It's probably that linebacker that gets cut that might be able to do something for us.
yes.
That's
Perhaps some tight end. Perhaps Bieniemy's got some speed docked on the receiver scenario.
It's linebacker and tight end.
And I think a dude that I think Bieniemy's going to want to not a number one, to a guy that fits that number 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many times that we saw their number 4 guy go off in a game? Bieniemy is awesome at that game of chess. And if you got, what was the dude's name from Georgia that we loved? The speed demon that was hurt a lot. That's still there, I think. He might be a free agent.
Georgia,
Receiver for Bieniemy for the Chiefs. He was like number 4 or 5 guy for the last
Not
2 or 3
Hardman.
years. Yes, McCole
Mikael
Hardman.
Hardman? Okay.
McCole Hardman, man, that guy.
He's a speedster.
But there were certain quarters that in one package he touched the ball 4 times out of 7 plays, and I was like, bro, he hasn't touched the ball in 2 games. So what? What the enemy is saying is, so what? I'm not playing checkers, sir.
Yes.
But if that number 4 guy can run a 4-3 something, then he can pull the top off the defense 15 times, and then next thing you know, I'm gonna get the ball to him after he was decoy Jones for the last 2.5 months. So that's what I like, and he's gonna want to have a 4th guy, not an up and coming guy. And can we have a guy? Maybe this guy that Bieniemy brings in that can return punts and kicks. Can we get a guy that returns punts and kicks that plays receiver? Is that possible? Are we the only team on earth that has never had a guy like that since I don't know, Joe Howard?
I can't remember last time we had a
Skaggs
receiver.
returned some punts for us back in the day.
No, but like everyone seems to find a guy that just all of a sudden, you know. And by the way, house calls don't come as often as they used to.
It was the dude from Duke.
Crowder.
Yeah, Jameson was all right.
He was
But I mean, it's a better slot than
he
returner.
was a possession punt returner.
Yes.
You were counting on him to make the catch.
Better
make a
than
good
what we have
decision.
now, which is our possession guy. But how about just some guy with some juice? Can we get Bezos out there returning kicks for goddamn sake?
Hardman
All
would be juicy.
He's no longer juicy. Hardman would be super juicy.
Super
but I don't think
juicy.
he's in the mix. I want a guy that can return punts and kicks, coming out of college that has the ability to score 2 touchdowns on special teams a year that could change 2 games. That's all I'm asking. Because we haven't had a dude with some electricity back there. Brandon Banks, like who was the
Mikael
last
Hardman
guy
is
that was like
saying-
our guy?
Did Hardman get picked up by the Jets?
He was in a contract year. But he did. I think I did see it. Yeah. I'm just saying a guy like him, not specifically him, but that guy can fly, and he made plays within that offense. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. That's all.
I'm not opposed to that because from a special teams perspective,
Curtis Samuel's gone after this year. Also, that's
yes,
another point.
Yes,
So.
and that's money. That's a few bets. What $10+ million?
And I want to save money in his role. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like
Sure.
Bieniemy style. Although Bieniemy's also going to be here for 1 year, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, you know, and we have
It was going well. It was going well for a while.
we
it
have
felt like.
Terry locked up, and
That's not all set in stone.
nothing's set in stone because everything. If we don't have a good year, everyone's freaking gone.
TNT.
Yes.
It's the cartoons.
It's over. It's like
true.
totally. I mean, I
We all know it.
Yes.
We all know this.
Do over.
Yeah. So, but let's play the game of we have a good year. The new owner keeps Ron Rivera. Sam Howell comes back as a starting quarterback after having a 3,500 to 4,000 yard season. 25 to 30 touchdowns. Gets the job done. You lose a Curtis Samuel and that offseason where we have ideally a young corner, a young offensive lineman. We're looking for.
You're still center thirsty.
Still center needy and thirsty.
However, whatever.
It's all the same thing. Then with Terry in the fold and a young quarterback, I think that's the year. That's the off season where you look for the splashy A-lister wide receiver to come in and play next to Terry. But that's not this year.
Don't you think Ron Rivera needs a splashy somebody after the June 1st designation?
Yes.
Because he could be heading into the abyss.
And he
I
deserves
do. He does deserve it.
He does deserve
Get
it.
yourself something nice, Ron.
Go treat yourself. Like Parks and Rec style, treat yourself. If he's gonna get some money, like if he'd be like, you know what, I'm going to the mall. I need some walking around money. I might stop with Julius.
Fresh kicks.
Maybe the Haagen-Dazs.
Anti-ands. All
what is it?
done.
Snipes?
Done nice.
Get
What's it called?
Is it Snipes? There's like 4 or 5 shoe stores that all sell the same shoes, but you got to always price check them against each other. But you want to get some crazy good kicks, and you know what? And you want to get something good at the food court. You don't want to.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Spencer's, but then definitely the food court.
I'm going in Spencer's.
You're damn right you
A
are.
pair of $3 fresh shades, a poster, and a T-shirt that my mom wouldn't let me wear.
And a lava lamp, because
And a lava
that one seems to be broken.
Well, it's been more lavy in the past.
Its flow seems stagnant.
So, but
Center needy.
I will say this: Curtis Samuel's going to have a huge year for us, and we're going to
He
all work
should.
hard for him, and he's going to get his money from
He
somewhere
should.
else, and that's all good to go. Jamison Crowder, by the way, still in the league. I believe he was just signed to somebody. Somebody tell me who Jamison Crowder was.
He was a
just signed
solid
contract.
player, man.
Yeah, and he literally just got paid again because and that was the McLovin original. if we all remember.
It was, but here's the only problem I have with it, and it's hindsight. We took him right before Stephon Diggs. Like everyone's like, local guy, he's been slipping. They were like, he's been slipping for a reason, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, they both went in the 5th round that year, I believe. Because I was like, I love Crowder.
Yeah.
But I really thought that.
What doesn't he love
Diggs
about
could've
Buffalo,
been.
man?
I think he's happy in Buffalo.
No.
Well, he wasn't happy in Minnesota. He might just be a
No,
guy who's not
he is
happy.
not.
He's been not happy.
Well, it's
in the
fucking
past.
freezing in both those places, and that pisses me off too. After the winter, he might
Maybe
just
his
want
trash
to be
cans
warm.
keep getting blown away. Maybe that's it.
It's an awesome community up there in Minnesota and Buffalo,
Yeah.
but I feel like Stefan's the type of guy that could exist there for 3 to 5 year segments.
No, I love Josh Allen, and I would, if I was a receiver, I'd be
Couldn't
loving
agree
that.
more.
I don't know how that could get any better.
It's freezing
really,
now.
Other places.
It's freaking freezing.
It's really cold.
guess.
It's so cold.
I feel like though you could probably like if we really tried hard, we could probably take a player who hates the cold and like you could map out a
it gets
8-week
cold here
season
too,
from
Kim.
November and December. You could map out 8 weeks in a row where players have to play. Unless you're in the AFC East or South or whatever, like first of all, you're playing divisional games in the last at least 2 games of the season, and you could easily just be screwed by the weather gods for the entire months of November and December by having to travel.
New England's
to
had a
all those
real hard
places.
time with that.
All those places, New England. Well,
Yeah, no.
yeah, not so much.
Don't put so much into the
Not
weather.
so much. I mean, they could build a dome. Although, don't you dare build a dome, Buffalo. Nor would they ever think of doing so. All right, so we
So cold.
kind of bounced around. I think that's a real thing that guys don't like to play in that weather. I mean, it just has to be a real thing. But at the same time, like,
Or just live. Or just generally wake up on a Monday, go out and get the paper and be like, God dang, it's cold as shit out here. Can't we just play in like Miami? Can't we all just play in Miami?
I mean, that's what Miami. That's the only reason why Miami didn't turn into a Division III team in the NFL like years ago. Like I thought for sure they were going FBS.
Sure.
But because of the weather, they were able to hold it together just for a little bit longer. Can you?
Yes.
But they were on their way. Miami was on their way to Division III status, but thankfully, guys still want to pay zero taxes and play in 80-degree weather. Who would have thought? It's a real thing. Ain't helping us a ton that our field sucks. We're getting a new stadium. We covered that at the top of the show.
Oof.
Let's get to our rough draft. Now, this is just it's calisthenics. We're just stretching it out,
Rough.
trying to understand how this might shake out a week out from the actual goodness of the NFL draft. There's a lot of hugs coming from Roger Goodell. He's getting loose. He's picking out his sweater, and that sweater is going to be so amazing. Can't wait to see it. However,
I feel like he smells like Woods from Abercrombie and Fitch.
what was the
That was great.
Woods? That was definitely
That was an
in
all-time.
my repertoire.
Yep.
Drakkar and Woods were right there. Drakkar Noir, that is.
This was specifically puberty ago for all three
What
of us,
was,
which is a combined 130 years. so.
Britches, the old school, like the not the.
It was like,
britches.
this smells like your grandpa's ass.
Remember that?
Trust me, they'll love it.
Britches had that.
And we just splashed it all over.
Oh yes.
Grandpa's ass.
Just dump it on.
It was terrible. It smelled like pine cones burning. Like,
That was my one piece of advice to my son. He was like, "What kind of cologne?" And I was like, "If you can afford it, Mr. 14-and-a-half-year-old, you shouldn't buy it." That's just you just take a splash of whatever I
they
got.
still have cologne?
What's that?
Do they still have cologne?
I wear Cool Water every day.
I mean,
By the way, I didn't know I was going to be sharing that tonight. But yes, they still have cologne and Cool Water still.
by David Off still? Is it still
It's
by
still by David Off.
All
The
right.
same blue bottle.
Cologne less.
Mm.
Don't love it.
All right, let's do something here
Johnson's
before
baby powder and Cool Water cologne. NES Tecmo, back me up. All right, so we got 15 picks. When we tune in next Thursday night, we'll be watching 15 teams make picks ahead of us. Now, I trust that you've accurately recorded those 15 teams. You have.
I've accurately recorded the teams.
We will I'm going to assign some picks to the board. Now, please, when I say your name, let me know that you're up to the task. Greg Martin, you will pick number 2. I'll just write this down.
Who's number 1?
We're number 1. Kevin, we're number 1.
We're number 1.
Robert Cohen.
We're number 1.
You're picking number 3 for the...
Number 3 is the Tennessee Titans.
Are they really?
Arizona, sorry. That was a trade. That was my mock trade.
Okay,
But I rescinded it, so it's back to Arizona. Okay. Sorry. Carolina, Houston, Arizona, Indy, Seattle, Detroit.
NES Tecmo, you're picking number 4 for the...
I said Indy.
Indy, okay.
Sorry. I thought you were just writing them down.
Ken Harris, you're picking number 5.
Seattle.
For Seattle. Ken Harris. That's Ken Harris. Let's see. EO. You still there? I know I saw you earlier, EO. If you're still there, EO, you're picking for the
Detroit.
Lions. EO. Ripito. Let me know you're still in the house. Ripito. You're picking number 7 for the
Las Vegas
Raiders. And if you're not there, don't worry. We appreciate people.
Number 2 is Houston. Number 2 is Houston.
You're picking for the Houston Oilers. Number 8, no trades. No trades. We're not doing trades.
No trades.
All right, so we're going to loop back through. Rhett Donnelly is picking number 8, and he's picking for the...
Atlanta Falcons.
Rhett is picking for the Atlanta Falcons at number 8. EO is not going to be able to be there. No, EO, it's for right now, not next week. I'm talking about right now. EO, confirm that you're able right now to pick for the number 6 Detroit Lions. If you can't, you can't. We'll pick for you.
EO.
All right, Greg, you're back on the clock for the
Chicago Bears at 9. Correct.
Greg. Robert Cohen, number 10.
Philly.
You're picking for the Eagles. By the way, that's a fun pick to make. That's probably of all the picks in here, that's the most fun to make.
Why do you always do that with our rivals?
You play in the Super Bowl and you get to pick number 10.
Ask Donovan McNabb how much fun it is to get picked by Philly.
NES Tecmo, you're picking 11 for the
Tennessee Titans.
And then Ken Harris, you're picking number 12.
Houston again.
All right, you're picking for Houston. I almost want to stick Greg with Houston twice, but no. Ken Harris, you get to pick for the Houston Texans at number 12. EO is... we're going to assume EO cannot be here. Rhett, you're picking number 13 for the...
New York Jets.
And that leaves... For the New York Jets. Yeah. You won everything. And so, 14, 15, 16 is going to be picked in the basement. We got 14, 15, 16 right here. 3 guys. We're going to take that. EO is not able to commit, so we will pick for him at number 6 for the Detroit Lions. I look forward to that pick. I love everything Dan Campbell's doing. I think that's one of the coolest football teams in the league right now for so many reasons. Classic jerseys, great colors, blue-collar town, Barry Sanders, the list goes on. EO, we got your back. Don't be sorry. We owe you. By the way, you'll be hearing the sweet, subtle sounds of EO's tracks on this show in the coming weeks. That I promise you, and we appreciate it so much. How many rounds? Only 1 round, NES. And it's back. It's only half a round.
Just half a round.
We're picking through 16 tonight. This is a rough draft. This is tough. Tough for everybody. So
top of the first.
We'll get things started right away. So number 1, we're on the clock here in the basement. Rhett, you're a part of this decision. Carolina traded up to number 1. Does everyone agree? No. Is everyone buying the Bryce Young situation? I mean, that just...
I do. We saw him play football in Washington, D.C. 4 years ago, and I said, wow.
He's the first pick in the NFL draft.
No, I just said, wow.
I'm leaning C.J. Stroud a little bit more.
I don't think they like him.
I think Carolina has pretty much made their choice.
I think they traded up for Bryce Young. I personally, by the way, I'm going to go on the record. This is not a pick I like. This is not a number 1 overall pick. I don't like this trade. I don't like Bryce Young as the guy that you went up and got.
You think he's too little?
No. I don't.
You think he's too handsome?
He's a little bit too handsome. No, I don't think he's too handsome. I don't agree with the logic. I don't agree with the trade up there. I think there's guys that were available. I think you can get better faster by not doing what teams like, for example, us did.
Philly? just made their quarterback the all-time highest paid guy ever.
Yes.
Just saying.
Well, okay. Timeout on the mock draft. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts real fast. That news came through today. We're doing a breaking thing. It was $51 million a year. He's the highest paid player in the history of the NFL. I'll start the conversation, the brief mini conversation off by saying one thing. Best decision Philadelphia ever made.
T, you got one thing? I need 12 seconds.
I think this is ultimately unsustainable and in the long run going to come back and bite them in the ass. As much as I love Jalen Hurts, you can't bank that he's going to be as good as he is now or better 4 years or more from now.
All right, I get 15 seconds. This is also my stat of the day. Every game. No.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry. No.
No.
Is this a salary cap stat?
Sort of.
Go ahead.
I just want everyone to know this. Next year, our starting quarterback will make $1 million. The 17 starting quarterbacks that we play against weekly will make $540 million. We have the $540 to $1 million man. We have the biggest underdog in all of sports. How about this? Every game we play in, the other team's quarterback makes $30 million plus more than ours. Every division game we play in, the other team's quarterback makes $40 million plus more than ours. I'm talking about that year, that guy. More than half of our freaking 17 games, the opposing quarterback will make $40 million more than ours. We have the number one underdog in sports somehow. I can't wait to root for this dude because he is up against it at a financial level that no one has ever dreamed of. 540. Now, just all you fact checkers, and I know there's a bunch out there, the 540 is when Aaron Rodgers finally agrees with the Jets. But three separate times, the other team starting quarterback this year, Jalen, and Aaron, will make $50 million more in 1 year than the guy we're sending out there. This is going to be so much fun to watch.
We're going to do this J.D. Ricka style. We're going to put $25 down. And
Let's go.
We're going to just break the bank.
I just can't imagine that we would have something more fun to watch. Now, I don't want to keep going. Let's get back into this draft. But.
No. Well, it's an awesome stat, Kev, and it is. That's how you win in this league. But when you get to a guy who is worth it, you have to pay him. I think the Eagles got there. The cool thing about this contract, and again, this is the last good thing I'll say about the Eagles for months at a time. The next 4 years of this contract, look it up, check me on it. Don't take my word for it. It's insane. The next 4 years of salary cap space that this contract takes up is nothing. It's like backup
because the guaranteed money is not ridiculous.
It's $179 million.
It's very similar to the deal Lamar Jackson is about to sign.
It is. I agree too. And
the one he turned down
for 4 years, he doesn't take up more than like 26 or between 26 and $30 million on your salary cap for 4 years. There's going to be another TV deal in between now and then. The salary cap is going to change immensely between now and then. It's going to be renegotiated between now and then. I hate that Philadelphia made such a good move. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback who I've loved since he got.
If Sam Howell beats him, it's $51 million versus $1 million.
Sam Howell will beat him. Taylor Heineke already beat him. Sam Howell's better.
And how cool is that? How
so
cool is that? That's what I'm digging right now about our little spot. Let's go Sam Howell. But
Bryce Young has been taken by the Carolina Panthers. On the clock, Greg Martin, you're number 2. You're picking for the Houston Texans. Robert Cohen, you're on deck. Keep that in mind. You're coming up after that. And then NES Tecmo, you're picking for the Arizona Cardinals after that. And we'll kind of keep you guys going. I know there's a slight delay between live in the basement and what's being broadcast out there. So keep get your picks ready. Greg, what are you going to go with? In the meantime, I think we can all agree that there is about to be a run on quarterbacks. We'll see how it shakes out with these guys picking for these teams. But if that's what happens, because they were talking about it like that's what's going to happen, the cool thing for the Commanders is 2-3 months ago, these 4 or 5 quarterbacks were spread out in the first 20 to 25 picks. We're doing it right now, Greg. Sorry. Don't mean to this is
Why
a
are you
rough
yelling
draft.
at Greg?
Greg, Because he's in New
Don't
Jersey.
yell at him.
No, he
Oh, this is how he
he's a Jersey guy.
communicates.
Yeah.
I see.
You can't soft pedal stuff.
God
to
damn it, Greg, let's go.
Yeah, for God's sake, Greg, we're doing it now. And then now he's like, okay, I feel okay. I feel okay. He knows how the deal is. He's a married with children Jersey guy. What else do you want?
Dude.
I can't just like soft pedal it. But the beauty of all these quarterbacks going right away is it pushes guys to us in the middle of the first round. There was always going to be a good player in the middle of the first round available to us, just like there always has been.
There always is. It's 16, 17. That's right where we get our Jonathan Allens and
our Daron Paynes, our Ryan Kerrigan's.
Kerrigan, yeah.
I mean, defensive linemen galore. I don't think that's what's going to happen here. Caught me in the middle of bedtime put down. Can you pick C.J. Stroud for number 2 overall? I mean, just go ahead and you can say that for the Houston Texans. I think that's who they want. I'm gonna lead you on that one. You can co-sign it and then get ready because you're gonna come back and pick for.
And when you come back, can you
Chicago
please?
Bears.
You have to reveal what bedtime is code word for. I'm just saying it's just between us on the board. We're all family now. It's fair. It wasn't in quotations. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna pencil in C.J. Stroud and if he doesn't come back and say.
I think we can all, with Greg's knowledge and passion, say that C.J. Stroud would not be a pick that would be like someone would be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
No.
Like that's kind of T wanted to take him first, and I agree with one of those two.
All right, so Greg's given us the okay to take C.J. Stroud for the Houston Texans, number 2 overall. I will give you this little draft skinny.
Oh, you got skinny?
I got a little skinny. There's scuttlebutt and skinny. This is a double scuttle.
No one likes a skinny
There's a
scuttlebutt.
lot of skinny scuttlebutt. That the C.J.
kinda
Stroud
like
stuff
that
is a
some
head fake.
scuttlebutt.
That they're desperately trying to trade this pick and get out of number 2 overall for someone who wants C.J. Stroud. They're throwing C.J. Stroud vibes into the air.
Could be in Indianapolis.
I don't think so. But I don't think it's Indianapolis personally. But I could be
Las
wrong.
Vegas.
Yeah, I think it's somebody who was trying to get up in there for that seat for that Ohio State quarterback, which again would strike me as colossally stupid. But anyways, if the Texans don't take C.J. Stroud, it's one of 2 reasons. One, they actually liked him in spite of this rumor that they don't like him, or B, they needed a quarterback and they just said, you know what, we have to take this guy. All right, so
We got some action.
I don't
C.J.
think
Stroud-
they'd be disappointed.
Robert Cohen is blowing everything up. Okay, Robert Cohen is taking Will Anderson.
Anderson's been mocked at that 3rd
Yeah,
spot.
that's good.
He's been in that
That's
mix,
fine.
but also there's so much. By the way, this is gonna be one of the craziest drafts of our entire.
But that's not crazy.
There's no, not at all. But there's gonna be some crazy. I don't think that's crazy at all. Will Anderson's a bad dude.
Yep.
That guy's a top 5er in any year, I think.
All right, NES Tecmo, you're on the hook. You're drafting for the Colts at number 4, and Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Will Anderson are off the board. Now we know the Colts are looking for a QB, coached by
Frank,
a guy we like, Frank Reich. We like Reich. He's.
you should be a rapper. Honestly, like you should just write.
I'm a writer, not I can't. I
I
can't
know, but you
deliver.
should just.
I'll write
no,
it,
but
though.
just 16 bars once.
Yeah,
Let's try it now. Go ahead.
Frank Reich is about to drop a he wants his guy. Who's it going to be? NES, you're on the hook. Yeah, thank you. Board is taking. Okay, now that's a surprise. But Anthony Richardson at number 4.
I think so. That
well-
dude, there might be 4 quarterbacks in a row taken, for God's sake.
Yeah, I just thought there was a different guy that they wanted.
Maybe.
So I'm surprised.
Maybe.
Ken Harris, you're picking for the Seattle Seahawks at number 5. My board has been somewhat already kind of rocked a little bit by this because I had a different guy going to both the Colts and the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
My board is stiff.
Your board is certainly very stiff. I'll go through
Just
there.
you didn't even look at it.
Jalen Carter. Now that again, once you,
He can go anywhere in the top 10.
I don't think he's slipping.
he's a bad man.
He's an awesome specimen.
He's a bad dude. He's going to be a difference maker immediately. I don't think that like he comes in my opinion, he comes into the league as a grown ass man who can take on absolutely any offensive lineman in this league on day one. Like if he fails out, like it's going to be a monstrous bust style because that's how good he is. He should not be bad in this league.
No,
he should be dominant.
God did not make him to not be good in the NFL.
Like, and all the crap that's like surrounding him, all this. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. He's been on the wrong side of a few situations, and hopefully he can figure out how to get his position in life corrected so that he can focus on what he needs to focus on, which is the game of football, and be the amazing player that he is. But God, if he is focused and is free of this terribleness that's been around him for the last 8 months, to me, he's rookie of the year. Jalen Carter.
His ceiling is ridiculous.
Yeah, to me, he's the best. I mean, even over the quarterbacks, like he could be literally he could be the guy that when you're watching.
Quarterbacks always get that.
I know
that love. You know that it's too much.
But he's gonna be. He has the ability to be so good that you can't take your eyes off him.
But if you can take these 3 quarterbacks that we just talked, the guys that just went and put the money on one of them, that's what they're doing right now.
The problem for them is
I don't know if I put the money on 3 of them.
They're good, but you're always going. If you're a quarterback, if you're getting a quarterback drafted at the top, you're going to a terrible team.
You're right.
That's the thing that sucks. E.O. Anderson is up at number 6, drafting for the Detroit Lions. Now,
who'd Seattle take?
Seattle took Jalen
Carter.
Which so Seattle was always gonna. It's a great pick by Ken Harris. Seattle's going defense. The cool thing about the Seattle Seahawks picking number 5 is there's a lot of people out there saying that the top 4 picks could very well be quarterbacks. Seattle is a team that's desperately looking for a defensive stud. They could potentially be able to choose between Will Anderson and Jalen Carter. That's a general manager's wet dream. So
Yeesh. Or Tyree Wilson.
I don't want to be a part of that dream.
If we're getting messy.
If we're getting a little bit messy, but if you can get Will Anderson and Jalen Carter.
If we're emitting nocturnally, then
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's fair enough. No, you make an excellent point.
Thank you.
Always, I can't argue.
Appreciate it.
I do want someone to wake
me up. I don't want Rhett to be doing that right now. He's facing us.
All right, so wait. So we have Detroit on the board. Now, I don't have them take like there's a group of folks out there who are saying that, do they take a young quarterback now to pair with Jared Goff? I say no. Do they take
defense?
A defensive player? I say yes.
Their coach is bonkers.
They just let Jeff Okudah go via a trade, a former first-round pick for a fifth-round pick. I see them being the first team to take a corner. I'm worried about what that corner is.
Too soon.
Who do you have? Do you have them taking Tyreek?
Not according to a lot of mocks.
There's 2 guys I think they take here. I just think they're Detroit. They're big and beefy. They want to be Detroit beefy. Detroit always takes defensive linemen.
I'm gonna let you.
For 100 years.
I'm gonna let you make the pick then.
Well, I just talked about it. Wait, the Detroit pick where
EO's taking it, but he's not on the. He had to step away.
Okay, so I would go with Tyree.
Tyree Wilson.
That's highest on my board.
And it's a great pick. He's a starter on day 1. He will wreck shop and he will make Detroit proud.
But he's a bad man.
He is a bad man.
That's 2 edges, a D tackle, and 3 QBs, 6 ways in. So.
Yep. Which is interesting because I believe we're going to start to get to territory soon where you actually see a first round without an offensive tackle taken in these. Well, I'm not going to say it's a top 10, but it's a crazy. That's how crazy. I think this draft is sneakily crazy in that regard because
it's going to be so fun, man.
Because offensive
very sneaky.
The best offensive tackle in the draft is generally one of the best football players and best athletes on the planet. Like, he just is. He has to be. And the fact that he won't be in the top 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 picks is crazy. So, Brad Ripito, I don't know if you're still out there. I hope that you are. I'm going to give you a few seconds. You are picking for the Las Vegas Raiders. You may have at it, sir. And I appreciate if you had to step away because we did talk earlier. You might be stepping away. So we're gonna get a pick ready for the Vegas Raiders. But if you are there, you get to pick for them. So, Rhett, you're picking for Atlanta, right?
Correct.
So you're on the clock, and you're worried because Atlanta wants some defensive linemen, and they're starting to go fast. So they might have to change gears.
And he doesn't want to. And he doesn't want to make a boner.
No boners.
Who's taking 7?
No one's been
No
taking
one.
7th yet.
We're waiting.
We're gonna assume now. Let's be on tap for the
Right.
Raiders. I think that let's talk about who they need or /want. They could be an interesting pick for a quarterback, only because they have Jimmy G, and I love Jimmy G, and I think he's going to do great in Vegas on and off the field. That's just who he is. He was born to play professional sports in Las Vegas. Well, let's be honest. Can we just be honest about that? Like, that's what he was born on this planet to do.
Jimmy FanDuel Garoppolo.
Yes. Yes. He is the face. He's going to be the face of Vegas before long. And I hope he does. I hope he takes them to Super Bowls. But
I tell you, they were ass chapped when the third pick was Anthony Richardson, not
Yep.
fourth pick was Richardson.
that said, I still
I
love.
know you thought they were going to take Levis right
Yeah,
there.
I do. I love, and I
And
love
that's
Will.
fine.
And I don't. I think he's a great Josh McDaniels.
Well, the
pick.
difference is Anthony Richardson cannot come in and start for the Colts right now, and I think people think Levis can. So I think that would be the difference maker. Anthony Richardson, you got to hide for a minute, which Indy's not getting real good anytime soon. So it's a weird little deal there. But right now, I think Las Vegas would take Anthony Richardson in a heartbeat. Can you imagine playing slots with old porn star Garoppolo and the greatest athlete to ever be drafted at the quarterback position? That's what people are saying, not me.
Whoever gets drafted, if they draft a quarterback, he is 1,000% playing this year. I mean, let's just all understand how the world works. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo isn't making it 16 games. I'm sorry. He's probably just not.
Why? He's gonna have a date.
He might have a date.
He gets
think it's
exhausted
gonna have a
mid-season.
Yes,
too.
yes. I
So,
mean,
Those eyebrows gotta take a rest. They need.
He's a handsome
They need
man.
a workload day. You know,
yes, but
a workload day off.
fall not only is NFL season, but in it was an interview I witnessed. I believe he said it was humping season.
it was humping season.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Not sure.
It's a technical term.
Sure.
Technical term.
Right. I watched an interview.
Well, all right.
Maybe it
Are
wasn't
we
an
gonna-
interview. Are you telling me that wasn't an interview?
Are we going to
Was
give
that
them
even Jimmy
You were
Garoppolo?
watching
Corner
a whale documentary.
or a corner?
I think
Brad is out, so we're picking for the Raiders. I'm going to give him the quarterback personally, but because it's Josh McDaniels, they're drafting in the top 7
and
pick.
Will Levis is all like McDaniels likes his physique and his ability to come in and reason, and the guy's a freak athlete. So
I like Will Levis. He's the anti-Jimmy Garoppolo, and he will play before the season's out, and he will literally set Vegas on fire.
okay, so
Will
Levis.
Will Levis's mom just called. She wants to talk to you for being
Fair enough.
the Jimmy Garoppolo.
Turn down the lights.
We did have a pick in. So, Greg,
and
you are
light
up.
a candle. What was the other pick?
Greg is up for the Bears. Atlanta Falcons ran their card to the table when
Oh,
Christian
dagger.
Gonzalez became available.
Dagger.
Is he your favorite corner in this draft?
No,
Okay.
but he's a great football player.
Atlanta just took.
Atlanta just took Christian Gonzalez, the corner from Oregon, who, by all accounts, looks like he can play ball at the next level. I mean, that's just be honest.
I
He's
kind of
plug and
had him
play.
slotted
Yeah.
in with the Raiders. I thought they were going to go old school Woodson style with it.
I think they could use a defensive player. You know,
and
for
they
sure.
very well might.
Yeah, yeah.
And and they very well might take a corner there.
I actually thought about taking Christian Gonzalez just to F Rhett, but I decided, you know what, he's hanging out with us on
That red
Tuesday
should
nights.
that red should just be heavily petted.
Yes, this is just gonna be
That was the
straight
final.
up over the pants, just some hand stuff, nothing crazy. That's it. No, that's all. Just be adults about it, for God's sake. It's Tuesday. Thank you. All right, so Greg, you're up. It is you're picking for the Chicago Bears. You keep your hands over there.
I'm just fiddling with my thingy.
Outside the pants. Oh, dude. All right. Well, all right. Robert Cohen's already picked for number 10, but that's okay. We'll see if I think that's a
Rhett
crazy.
can't see it.
No, Greg can see. Oh, man, Robert was just crazy. Skoronski's off the board. Peter Skoronski.
Well, that's
He hasn't
bullshit.
picked yet.
What just happened?
No,
Red hasn't
Greg
picked yet.
Martin. Yeah, Rhett picked Christian Gonzalez for the
Right.
Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
Greg picked Peter Skoronski, the Northwestern.
Yes.
lineman,
And
correct?
and
The Chicago Bears local guy makes good.
if he not here. If he is available when we're picking at 16, he is my number one guy that we run to the board and take over anyone else that I think could be available. Obviously, the
What
guys we're
position
talking
do you
about.
play him on day one.
Guard, Pro Bowl guard. We lost a Pro Bowl guard a year ago. We saw the difference that it takes. What a Pro Bowl guard means to our offense is immense.
He's a Pro Bowl
Skoronski
guard.
me.
And I find it fascinating. If he's picked by the Bears, they might play him at tackle.
No, he's a very good football player. He could do well there.
He could do just fine. But if he came in, I think that it's just, to me, it's fascinating that he's a guy who could play either way and have a Pro Bowl, potentially some All-Pro years at either of the two positions. But Peter Skoronski gone at number 9. Robert Cohen jumps right away. Like, this is the fastest pick we've had yet in our mock draft. And by the way, NES Tecmo, you're on the board at number 11. You're picking for the Tennessee Titans. So anytime you want to put your pick in, please feel free to do so. But Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver from TCU. So recently disinvited, deselected for the
Ghosted.
the in-person Goodell hug. They said, you know what? We had you down for a hug, but you know what? I'm sorry, you don't get a hug. He's not one of the guys invited to the green room. He's not one of the NFL's top 3 to 4 receivers in this draft. There's the NFL, in their infinite wisdom, has said he's a top 25 to 28 ish, and that they're not going to make him sit in the green room for potentially 2 days in front of the cameras like some guys have had to do.
I always feel bad for those guys.
Yeah. So do you want the hug from Goodell, or do you want to sit there for? I mean, what's the big difference? But either way, Johnson's not going to be in where's this draft being held? Help me out.
I have no idea.
I had it on the tip of my tongue. Either way, he won't be there. He's not traveling to the site. But Quentin Johnson as the first wide receiver off the board, that's news. Robert Cohen.
QJ off the board.
That's news. And if you watch his film, it's pretty fun. I mean, he's a gifted athlete, and in today's NFL, yeah, we're NES Tecmo. We're ready for your pick for the Tennessee Titans, which is kind of the unsexy one. NES, I got you. Tyree Wilson went number 8 overall to the. No, Tyree Wilson went 6 to the Lions.
Oh shoot.
Will Levis went 7 to the Raiders. Christian Gonzalez, corner from Oregon, went 8 to the Falcons. And Peter Skoronski went number 9 to the Bears. We were just talking about Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver from TCU, who was drafted by Robert Cohen for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're giving a $51 million quarterback, the number 1 wide receiver
Very
drafted.
fair. Got to get him up another, although he had plenty of weaponries.
I actually think that there's a universe that exists where the Philadelphia Eagles draft Bijan Robinson at number 10 just to deliver 2 big fat middle fingers to the league, because they also pick at the end of the first round, right?
Yeah.
And they have the ability to take a guy who's going to touch the ball potentially as many times as their quarterback, not as many times as their quarterback, but potentially as many carries as their quarterback. Bijan, if you're, adding, it reminds me of when the Redskins made the decision for Desmond Howard in the top of the first round, when they could just literally afford to just say, give me a scratch off ticket wide receiver, best, most electric player that we can find right away. Bijan Robinson could be that guy. NES Tecmo, you were drafting for the.
Do you not like Miles Sanders or something?
Paris.
I don't think Miles Sanders has a future in Philadelphia.
No, but he just played in a Super Bowl.
Paris.
Yeah, he did. Paris Johnson, offensive lineman from
Tackle from Ohio State.
OSU.
Young buck, but looks like a left tackle prototype.
You like Skoronski better than Paris.
I play him at guard.
If you could pick between the two of them.
Here's why. He can play right now. That's why I like him so much. And I think he's a great player. I think he's a Pro Bowl guard. That's what I think. Skoronski is. Yeah. I've watched the guy play. He was a left tackle. He gave up nothing. He did when I say I watched him play, I've watched his highlights after he was done playing. I've heard about him. People that I read about and I trust that love that this guy's a can't miss O-line starter in this league for a decade.
I don't disagree
His
at all.
floor is higher than anyone's. His ceiling, maybe not so much, but that's not what we're looking for.
Ken Harris, you're on the clock for the Texans. And Rhett Donnelly, you're on deck for the Jets. And then we take over here in the basement. This is a board, rough draft. I got it all written down. NES Tecmo, I love the pick. Paris Johnson, offensive lineman to the Titans. It's a classic Titans move.
Yeah, it's a great pick. We can't take
Derrick
him.
Henry.
We don't have time for him to develop.
No.
We can't take a guy in the first round that sits. But this guy is going to be a very good football player.
Ken Harris making a classic genius Bishop McNamara decision. Ken Harris says, you know what?
Junior Bynum?
I
Bynum?
just drafted C.J. Stroud at number 2 overall when I maybe didn't like him necessarily as a quarterback, even though he's a prototype size, strength, accuracy type guy, C.J. Stroud. What am I going to do? How am I going to make the most of that pick that I'm not sure I'm in love with? How about taking his wide receiver from Ohio State University, Jackson Smith-Njigba, from the Ohio State University, J. Smith Njigba.
That was 12.
That's a great call, Ken. And if they are able to pull that off, it's smart on so many levels. I mean, Smith-Njigba by himself is worth the price of admission. He's a legit. He's regarded as many as the number 1 wide receiver in this draft. If you were able to get him after Quentin Johnson's already been picked, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, Bijan did not get picked. So Rhett, you're on the clock, my friend. Oh, you took Broderick Jones, the Georgia boy.
Damn.
All right. You're really forcing the Commander's hand at this point in time. OT.
I don't trust Becton. I think he's going to move to right tackle or something.
So we're picking for New England, Green Bay, and Washington. So let's talk about it for a second. Top three offensive linemen off the board. Top 4 quarterbacks off the board. Top 3 defensive linemen off the board. Top cornerback off. Forget about cornerback for a second.
One of the top cornerbacks.
One of the top corners off the board. Top 2 wide receivers, I think, generally speaking, are off the board. I think that the beauty of Robert Cohen's pick at number 10 for the Eagles is kind of exactly where I was with Bijan Johnson. It's a luxury pick. You're adding a skill set player to a team. I mean, they've been decimated by free agency, and they've been decimated by just paying a guy $255 million. So for them to come back and say, we're going to take like a luxury pick at a skill spot, that's a big middle finger to the league. And that's what Philadelphia does. Again, I hate to give them any kind of positivity, but it's an awesome pick, Robert Cohen, because I don't think that the draft nicks believe in Quentin Johnson the way that you do, Robert Cohen, and I agree with you. So we're on the same page with Quentin Johnson. I think he's better than people are making. People think he's a second round guy now. I think he's a first round guy.
I'm focusing on drafting the best available players
for the New England Patriots
forward.
and the Green Bay Packers. So the New England Patriots, I think they have. You could honestly say they have a number of needs. I think they could be they're in this position. I think they're straight BPA.
And I'm going to say, can I tell you who I think they're going to take?
Yeah.
But we're all making this pick. My vote is for Nolan Smith. I know the value at the edge position. This guy's dropped a little bit. Belichick loves those dudes, and Nolan Smith is that dude. Yeah. At Georgia, he was a monster. Didn't get to show it in the national championship on crutches. This dude's an animal. That's who I think Belichick takes right here. Best player available. Need being, but I think he's an edge dude. Belichick.
I think that he is. That's the splashiest, in a good way, splashiest first year out of the gate starter that you can make at this point in time. What's the best offensive lineman available right now? Wright, maybe. I'm trying to think of
Darnell Wright is, in my opinion,
the best available. At this point
available. I like Broderick Johnson. I adore Skoronski, and Darnell Wright seems to be a big mauler. I like guys like that.
Yeah. But Darnell Wright's probably the best available. So I don't know. I'm not as up to speed on New England's offensive line needs, but I know that they're a BPA organization. I'm happy to go with your pick because I think Nolan Smith. I think he is not just. I think he's BPA and he's Belichick-esque.
Yeah, he's a bad MFer also.
Yeah, he is.
He's ready to play right now. He doesn't need seasoning. Of
suiting
course,
up
he
right
needs to
away.
learn the tricks of the trade, but physically, he fits
playing.
right in.
He's on
Yes.
day one. He's starting the Green. Okay, so now we get to Green Bay. Now it's interesting for the Green Bay Packers because they are an organization that is super different than every single other organization. So they're publicly owned, but it's a trendy thing to say, and no one knows what that means. But what it means is they are operated differently. They're just plain operated differently, and we've seen that manifest itself. I mean, think about the Aaron Rodgers thing that we're living through right now. We lived through this already with another Hall of Fame quarterback. And
You lived through it. I think I'm going to make it. I'm feeling pretty confident that I'm going to come out on the right side of this.
I'm just saying it's a repeated scenario where they literally.
It's true.
This is Groundhog Day for the Green Bay Packers in the NFL. It's a big deal.
Weird ass white dude holding the franchise by hostage.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. I mean, Brett Favre is still my number one. But just so we're clear. I mean,
And he's odd, but he doesn't light a candle to Aaron Rodgers' strangivity.
Aaron Rodgers is a weird dude. He is, so it's happening all over again. They've made weird draft decisions when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback and you draft Jordan Love. I mean, I get it, but it's kind of like reality TV at that point in time. It's like, are you doing this on purpose? Like, are you trying? Like, could you just not take a wide receiver or an offensive lineman to make Aaron?
They're doing a lot more things right than the franchise that we
Correct.
has been doing.
Correct.
Because they keep asking Rodgers after he does his dark retreats, and apparently that's where you gain wisdom and knowledge. And
we should all just be doing
strange
ayahuasca.
stuff.
I think we'd all just be better off.
Is that better than whiskey and?
I don't know.
As long as you do whiskey with
Seems
it.
to make him really happy, though.
It does seem to make him really happy.
It seems to make him really
in
happy.
spite of myself, I am a huge Aaron Rodgers fan.
Oh, I thought you were going to say ayahuasca.
Are you guys with me?
I'm not a hater.
Okay.
I appreciate the oddities of humankind.
I don't hate it.
I like having friends that have different, backgrounds. I hate normal, but I also despise really weird.
But
Be yourself, but stop trying to be so weird, nerd. Just be a nice dude.
Him or Kirk Cousins?
Him.
Kirk Cousins every day of the week.
Dude.
I'm definitely hanging out and doing ayahuasca.
It is
I'm
weird, too.
praying with
It is.
freaking
It is.
Kirk. And his
I didn't
wife.
say who I would rather hang out with.
Ken Harris and Greg Martin and NES and the guys who are still on right now. Let us know how the sound's been throughout the night. I'm interested in that.
Sucks.
I'm going to ask you. I waited the whole time to ask you. I'm sorry I did, but give us an honest assessment. We're continuing to tweak it. But back to Aaron Rodgers. I will say the cool thing about Aaron Rodgers and my love for him as a football player.
Your love for him.
Yes.
When I break the show down tomorrow,
Yes.
Valentine's Day 2024 is going to be a tough day for you.
Thank you.
You got it.
He has legitimately entered the conversation of all-time greats, in my opinion, and I think that you get to be able to talk about him in that vein. Like, I think he's done things in this league that are worthwhile, like worth saying. Like, is he a guy that you would want on any given Sunday? Like, if you could pick any guy, he's close to being that. He's close to being okay to pick there. I love him. I think he is I mean, I think he's like. I mean, for me, he's top 7, top 8 all time, like no hands down. But I opened myself up.
I put him out of the top 10 due to his horrific taste in downgrading who he was chosen to live this life with.
I can live with that. And
Because
I understand that.
it makes no goddamn sense to anyone. That's all.
I appreciate that actually. Like that. That's so we're getting some low volume. Someone's gonna do this.
Yeah, low volume.
But people can turn up. People can turn this up. I just turned this up a little bit.
So what? So where are we at right
See
now?
if that makes a difference. So we're at Green Bay. So we're picking for
let's
Green
get
Bay.
all right, let's pick for Green Bay. We're hanging out in a dark cave right now. Gradually finding less and less attractive people to be attractive.
I think this is again a BP. They're a BPA organization. I don't think they're looking to make splashes. I think they have decent. They got Christian Watson. They got Aaron Jones. They got good players at the skill positions. They gave up some stuff, but they're BPA. But they're BPA, and I think I'm worried that they could be a team that takes a corner.
I think Devin Witherspoon's the
Yeah,
best.
everyone
the best
wants.
player available
So we
at
all
this
just
point.
agreed. All four of us just said. You said corner. You said Devin. You said and I said
He's the best player available at this point.
And he's a bad dude.
In most mocks, he's going top 10.
Yeah. Yes, and I was hoping. We all were hoping that we would have a guy like Devin Witherspoon, but he gone.
So Devin Witherspoon's gone. Right before we pick the second cornerback in this rough draft gets taken off the board. Now it's time for us to talk about our pick. Everyone gets a shot at it. We all get to talk about it. Okay, recap. Good thing. Good talk, Brett. With the number 1 pick in the rough basement draft, Carolina Panthers take Bryce Young, followed by the Houston Texans, backing up the quarterback with C.J. Stroud. The Arizona Cardinals take Will Anderson, the edge extraordinaire. NES Tecmo, drafting for the Indianapolis Colts, eschews Will Levis and takes Anthony Richardson, where Ken Harris, drafting for the Seattle Seahawks, takes the best defensive player on the board, potentially the best defensive player in this draft, Jalen Carter. At number 6, Tyree Wilson, heading to Detroit. The Las Vegas Raiders, at number 7, take Will Levis, quarterback for Josh McDaniels. The Atlanta Falcons, behind the beauty of the front office of Rhett Donnelly, take Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon. Peter Skoronski, the local product, picked by Greg Martin for the Chicago Bears. Robert Cohen, the fancy, luxury, Ken-backed pick of Quentin Johnson to the Philadelphia Eagles. NES Tecmo with Paris Johnson. The Ohio State offensive tackle going to the Tennessee Titans, the Houston Texans. Back up their C.J. Stroud pick with another Ohio State product. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle, picked by Rhett Donnelly, on his way to the New York Jets. That brings up Nolan Smith to the New England Patriots. Devin Witherspoon to the Green Bay Packers. And the Washington Commanders on the clock.
I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking of the right words to say. I know they don't come out the way I planned it to be. Just saying who I think it should be.
I'm just thinking of the right word
But
to
if
say.
you...
So can I... All right, so wait, who gets to go first? You guys want to go? I mean, I know who I want.
I said who I said. Joey.
I'm with you.
He just
That's
keeps
my guy.
coming up, and you know what? Why not?
That's where I'm at.
Why not?
Joey Porter, the cornerback for the
Watch it.
Washington
Good
Commanders.
guys. For the good guys.
6'2", 6'3", super physical. He plays football the way this guy likes people to play football, which is straight up physicality. Are you not? Who do you want instead of Joey Porter?
I want a lineman.
Who's left that you like?
Well, I had somebody else penciled in because I thought this guy would already be taken, but Kevin already mentioned his name.
Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
So you're taking Darnell Wright in this position and playing him on day one at?
I think we need him on tackle.
Which left?
Yeah.
And moving
He could
Charles
be
Leno?
either. Well, yeah.
I mean, I don't disparage the lust for offensive lineman in the first round. And
Just a philosophy.
I'm sensing
It's
some
my
lust.
philosophy.
I'm feeling lust.
I want linemen.
I need
I
a
want
barrier
linemen.
here.
I
I
want
need a
linemen, I
barrier.
want
There's a
linemen.
lot of barrier here.
T's philosophy is causing you lust. Seems like I've never felt like the third wheel more
I was
so
willing
than
to
I
take
do right
Anton
this very
Harrison
moment.
too at this spot.
Listen, T,
Yeah.
I've said my thing. It's either corner or
Or
line
offensive
right here,
Period.
and
I would take Anton over Darnell personally. Now I don't know.
I
if I'm
only
being,
say Darnell. I was going to, if I were to make this pick tonight, I had Anton Harrison penciled in,
Anton could slip to the second round.
and
It's possible.
but that's because Darnell was already taken. He's the higher rated.
Offensive lineman.
but
yes,
there's
sure.
different. There's other. They're rated differently, and there's so many different places to look, and you never know. And by the way, it doesn't matter because it's based on what we run, and I think both of the guys you're discussing would be great additions for us. None more so than the other. I think the choice is between corner and like when I said if Skoronski's there, I'm taking Skoronski. If he's not, I like Broderick, and if he's not, then don't want. You sit there and you're like, God dang it. How far do I go? Because I would love to get one of these deep corners in the second. Because
Well-
if you're thinking about it as a 2-person gang for a second, it's tough. But
If Joey Porter falls to us at number 16, I just want the record to show I have a card in my pocket, and I am putting my fastest intern on the job of running that up to the podium.
I'm going to say from the responsible picks that we've discussed tonight, Skoronski is my dream if he falls. You look at Gonzalez and Witherspoon and Porter, I have them all right there.
They can start for us today.
I like all three. They all bring 3 different things. Obviously, it's not that simple, but I think that they all bring great value to us on the defensive side of the ball. Skoronski would be my guy, but I'm definitely going and feeling damn proud about one of those 3 corners.
Because of the flexibility of St. Just and Fuller, because of the ability for those players to fold in any of those 3 guys. Because you talk about the strengths and weaknesses of those guys and where they would have to play on the field.
Right.
Fuller, St. Just, and one of those 3 guys will make a devastating trio of corners for us.
Darnell Wright has jumped through the freaking roof in the last month. He has his senior ball, and since then, everything he's done, like he could be a guy coming into his own. Sheesh! I know I don't like the late rot, but I got no problem because he's kind of a mauler, and
He is.
and like Paris Johnson, great pick. You have to understand where he's going. He needs probably a year or so to become this long arm freak. Whereas a Darnell could kind of be a plug and play guy on the offensive line,
You just
which
almost
would be
like
great.
changed the entire gain of the entire show.
¿Dónde está mi huevos?
Did you just switch us to Espanol only?
Tus pega es muy flaco.
I want to say this.
Take my lápiz, that's amarillo.
Ahí.
Hit the button. First of all, did that volume change I made make a difference? Secondly, this is my draft comment for
Destinos.
this.
Sorry, I was going to do
Anyo.
that. I was going to do the. Never mind.
For this Anyo, I am going to say what I've never said before. A new thing, a brand new thing.
Well, it's not. It's not going to be lust. That we know.
Or neediness, or center neediness. I love workout guys. I love that they can bring it on. In
Bill
the,
Simmons is in your
gym.
top, like your Mount Rushmore of people.
They are so hot, aren't they?
Richard
The
Simmons.
compression, shorts.
You have a picture of Richard Simmons,
and
don't you?
The tank tops, I do.
Yes.
But here's the thing. I think that if you get, especially with these offensive linemen who play 3 or 4 years in college football, thank you, NES. I did put the volume up. We'll continue to work on that. And he says it worked out great. Appreciate my McNamara brother. I'm putting more
Appreciate
weight
the distraction.
these days on game film from Power 5 games on tape. I want to see these guys against the best of the best at their age level, at their skill level. I love run a fast 40, be agile, do a fast cone drill, pump that iron.
Pump that iron. Pump that iron.
Take it easy.
What are you
Take it easy.
doing?
Hey, don't you go to Benjamin for help. He's got my back on this. Benjamin's got my back on this. I am just against, at this point in time, the Darnell Wright rise, because I've been watching the same thing you have, Kev. I'm rebelling a little bit against it. I don't like it the way that I maybe think I used to. I like the thought that we have of guys coming out of that December, January time frame, because we just watched them battle for 4 months against the best of the best. How about this? I just weight that more. Like I feel like the 3 or 4 months after they finish their college career is gotten more and more weight because of the era we live in, and I think the old school guys got it right because they paid attention to the first, second, third, and fourth downs that these guys played for their colleges against the guys who they were asked to play against. I'm waiting on that. Darnell Wright, he can have a great career in this league, but Joey Porter, I'm taking him over Darnell Wright. I'm taking Anton Harrison, for that matter, over Darnell Wright. I like where people think about guys in January as much, if not more, than what guys think about them on April 1st, because you and you know what, you guys know better than me. You guys have played with freakish athletes, but you guys have also played with guys who, between the whistles on game day, they played better than the freakish athletes. Like, you know, these guys, they're better football players. The football players show themselves to be better football players when they're playing football. Like, playing football is what tells everyone how good a football player you are.
True, but Darnell's a mauler.
I know.
He mauls dudes. So, no. But the difference between him and,
you know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But hey, this is apples and oranges, and right now, it's whiskey and vodka.
We got Joey Porter because it's 2-1 on this one tonight.
That's fine.
It's 2-1.
And Rhett, unless Rhett wants to come in with Darnell.
Rhett, are you going Darnell or Joey?
Neither.
Who are you saying? You know who's available?
This league is about scoring points.
Okay, Rhett's about to go. Rhett, get over here.
Sure.
Get over here. Get inside.
For those who have never seen Rhett.
Here's Rhett Donnelly, everybody. He's part of our team.
This league is about scoring points.
Okay, what do you got?
We need points. We're going tight end. We are going Dalton Kincaid.
Whoa!
We are going tight end. We need to score points. We need to give our quarterback the most options possible. We need to score Dalton
You're going
Kincaid.
tight end in the first round.
And save some Logan Cash is apparently, unless we
It's
need
a
him to
popular
bring
pick.
it along.
It's a popular pick. I don't love it. It's a popular pick.
Manner of speaking, by the way, if I haven't already said, welcome. I haven't seen you on the board.
Some mocks even have the skins taken mayor.
Yeah, Michael. By the way, that's what we were talking about when I was vamping for time earlier about 4 quarterbacks going so early, and Anthony Richardson certainly going earlier than previously thought. It's pushing guys to us. It's pushing Michael Maris to us.
His drafting is a wonderland. It's pushing guys to us.
Is a wonderland.
just honestly, can we get Rhett back over here? Stat.
That's maybe we can. No, we're not. When NES Tecmo says whatever EB wants, are you talking about Eric Bickle, our guy from the Junkies? I know.
Shithouse rats. Whatever EB wants for 8 months, because that's how long he's going to be here. But he could do some good stuff.
Yes, I got no problem with that at all. And if EB wants a tight end, he gets it. I also am not convinced that some Chase Roullier dollars couldn't be spent on a tight end post June 1st. Now we see why the on-air talent
one named what?
Talent. What? I think that it'd be a trade, not cut.
Okay.
Be a trade, not cut. Because I do think that there's teams, that there's a couple guys out there that potentially could be on the move, but at the same time, well, to NES's point and to Kevin's point before about Eric Bieniemy having an idea of how he wants this offense to go. With when we talk about adding a McCole Hardman, obviously nobody knows better than Eric Bieniemy the value of, arguably the greatest tight end of all time. We could have that conversation in 1 week. Who's the greatest tight end of all time? Travis Kelce is right there. He's right there in the argument of greatest tight end of all time. He's
damn right he is.
So
he's a bad dude, but
and if you have that
he's
guy,
a freak athlete.
He makes your offense pretty damn hard to stop. And we don't have that guy right now. And I don't know that that guy's going to necessarily be available to us in any way, shape, or form.
Well, there's not a lot of those guys running around.
There's just not. But to be fair, Kansas City didn't know what they had for 2 or 3 years. If you remember,
you better be damn sure that Dalton or Mayer are going to be that guy. If you're taking them here.
I mean, Kelsey didn't materialize right away for Kansas City. He was in the cut, in the weeds for a season or two before he flashed.
Yeah, he was, but he grew up.
He did, and he did grow up. He was a knucklehead of all, and he still is.
We've all been in the weeds.
If you guys remember, I used to do a thing on Hogs Haven where I watched every single preseason game, every single week, and I did a synopsis of a paragraph on every single game, and it was. I sat right there. You guys were looking right at it, and I watched every single game all the way through the fourth quarter.
Right there.
Right there.
And I will never forget watching the second half to the fourth quarter of Kansas City Chiefs games. Now
it's the worst game I watched underneath the Snyder era, I believe.
Oh, the regular season game.
The snowy one.
The snowy one. I'm talking about Kansas City preseason games against
Oh,
yeah. I watched every not Redskins preseason game. I watched every single NFL preseason game, and I had a buddy who ran the Hogs Haven equivalent for the Chiefs, which is called Arrowhead
Did
Pride.
Megan stop talking to you?
No, she loved
kick you down here.
She'd be like, "Whoa, you got to watch 3 more hours of guys who aren't going to make the league."
If I left my wife alone for that amount of time, she would be so happy.
She'd be so happy.
You're right. You found
I did.
the formula is proper.
I remember
it's tried
seeing
and true.
that guy, and I texted my friend. His name is Joel Thorman.
Who's taking care of all the kids and doing all the shit while you guys are watching all this football?
That's what TV is for. T, come on, let's be honest.
Me?
I saw this guy,
I live very different lives.
Travis Kelsey, and I was like, dude, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And he was like, oh, he might be something, he might not be. I'm like, dude, he is one of the best tight ends I've ever seen. Like, how is he not? He was showing himself to be who he was, and they just weren't ready yet. Eric Bieniemy unlocked something there. Andy Reid obviously unlocked a lot there. And Patrick Mahomes makes a lot of that easy. All that is given. But we have a guy who now has seen, I think there's a value to an offensive coordinator who understands intimately what it means to have a Travis Kelsey.
I mean, why stop now, Ken?
What is wrong with you?
Now I'm just triggering you guys.
Just say boner every third word and see how that ends. Boner.
First of all, Greg Martin, this is not about me and Pat White. Now, Pat White, I do love Pat White, but this is not about Pat White at all. I want to know what you guys feel. If we don't get the tight end of our choosing, so Rhett's choosing is Kincaid, right? Rhett? That's who you want, number one? Is Michael Mayer a guy who you think can be that guy?
He's a stud. Sure. He's a stud, but I mean, you got to be absolutely sure with a lot of the talent that's still on the board at this spot. That's
we're not going to fail. If we have to choose between Joey Porter, Kincaid, intimate knowledge of Kelsey, interesting.
The best.
Manor, it's true.
Pick a tackle.
I did the research. Anton Harrison, Darnell Wright. We're going to get a guy who's going to start for us. That's the beauty. We're not. It's not a possibility. We're not trying to figure out where we're going to play a Peter Skoronski. We're not trying to figure out if Anthony Richardson needs to have some seasoning or Will Levis for that matter. This guy's going to play for us right away. So we'll see if things fall that way for us. Next Tuesday, we're going to have a little bit more information. We're not going to go through this entire exercise again, but
less intimate knowledge of professional athletes.
No wet dreams.
Guaranteed. Don't guarantee that, T.
More wet dreams, more intimate knowledge, more all. Ken Harris has given me an ultimatum. He's leaving the board if we don't give him more intimacy. You're getting more intimacy, Ken.
No
Harris.
Masquerade parties,
Ken.
sex parties.
Ken definitely didn't. He didn't order that.
He might have ordered some. He might have ordered it.
That was a wrong order.
Okay. Let me. This question, and I want to address it. I'm sorry, Nance Tecmo, for not. You asked it a couple of times, and I want to address it. Will Joey Porter work out with Jack Del Rio? I think the answer is yes.
Why wouldn't he?
Well, but there's been stuff out there that's saying that he's Jack Del Rio is that there's not a perfect fit there. I don't understand it myself, but my answer would be yes. I think Joey Porter Jr. would be a great fit for our defense. I think a guy like Porter who doesn't have an NFL dad like Joey Porter Sr. might be a little bit hard to handle.
Does Del Rio have like a beef with his dad?
No.
Well, how about this? His dad's crazier than a shithouse rat. Let's just throw it out there.
Yep.
Now, if people start recruiting to the dads, then my son's screwed. So I don't believe in this theory, but I'm telling you right now, Joey Porter's dad had a screw loose in this league.
Yes.
He tried to fight everybody. The ref, the fans, his own teammates, certainly the other team.
Yeah.
He was built a little bit different.
Yes. And it worked.
For him, it did, and then that era
almost
it did.
didn't, and then it
in
did.
this era, it doesn't. Now, the way he played the game does. There's going to be some suspensions. There's going to be some coaching points that might have different. But point being, this guy is obviously going to play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and that's
He's
cool.
a big boy.
Yes.
He's got. I think that the interesting thing about him that adds to our strength, which is defense, is the size on the outside. I mean, he's a big boy. He plays physical. He's got everything you want in a cover guy, and he's big. Now, I think the thing about Joey Porter is you've made the investment in Allen, you've made the investment in Payne, you have Montez Sweat, you have Chase Young. The job of the cornerback is made so much easier when you have 4 defensive linemen of that caliber.
And you have Kendall Fuller and got a man
Correct.
that you can aspire to be, who we only have for a year, which is part of the reason why I do believe Joey Porter should be here.
Yes.
Now, of course, St. Juice, but Kendall Fuller is a man's man. He's a local man's football guy, and this is a brother of 4 NFL athletes. Yes, right place for Joey Porter.
I'm a Porter guy. I think that there was a time when he was considered top 10. I think he's a top 10 talent. And the fact that he's not going in the top 10 is not because he's not a top 10 talent. It's because, as usual, when we get to the actual draft, we discover a truth of the NFL that we've been talking about for the last 5 years. Is that, very simply, this is a scheme-specific league now. This isn't... BPA is BPA, but BPA changes on a pick-to-pick basis. And best player available isn't a best player available to the NFL. It's a best player available to the team that's picking. And the beauty of the league at this point in time is there's so many ways to do it, and there's so many schemes that work and so many ideologies in play that the best player available is not the same for any given team that's picking. And so a guy like Joey Porter is a top 10 guy that falls to number 16. And isn't that what happens every year in the middle of the first round? Is that a guy who's available in the middle of the first round who can destroy it for the team that picks him? Because we've been that team. And everyone says, oh, shouldn't you have lost like 3 more games so you can pick in the top 10? Why? So maybe so that we could take Peter Skoronski? Maybe. So that we could take Tyree Wilson?
No. It's so
Will
stupid.
Levis? No. Obviously not. That's why you don't tank. That's why you get as many wins as you possibly can, and you take the player that falls to you, who's going to be great. I'm missing out, and Ken Harris is giving you some credit there on the Fuller, the presence of Fuller.
Well, I mean, he's been a guy, man.
He's a
How about
player in
we
this league.
drafted him, we traded him because we had to get what we wanted, and he couldn't wait to come home, and we couldn't wait to bring him here. That never happened during the Snyder era, the way it did with Kendall Fuller. So.
William Jackson, obviously, that's the Williams. He's gone. But the to address,
we picked up somebody else though.
No, but the idea of him last year is the reason why we would draft
Yes.
Joey Porter this year.
Yes.
Obviously, Rivera thought we needed a big time dude. Then he cut a big time dude.
Yeah, we paid him some money.
Admitted his mistake, and we moved forward.
Yes,
He dealt with that. He dealt with the aftermath well. But
Yes.
let's get a better corner next time, and we don't need your graciousness, kind sir.
Yeah, and again, scheme specific. It was a free agent that turned out to not be as scheme specific as we thought that he was going to be. And now there's no excuse for getting a free agent wrong in scheme specificness. But to address the board, there is another corner that's been mocked to us at this point, who was available when we drafted
He a Terp.
the Terp.
Keontae can play, baby.
Yeah,
Branch.
He can fly. Branch is
really-
Branch is Alabama. So
Deontay Branch.
no,
Deontay Branch.
Deontay's the corner from Maryland. Branch is the
Deontay. Sorry.
So
Brian Branch.
Brian Branch is the specialized. We'd all love to have a Brian Branch. We can't take him in the first round. Goddamn great football player.
You talking about Deontay Banks from Maryland?
Deontay Banks
said
is the
Branch,
guy
I
that
meant
we're
Banks.
talking about.
Sorry.
Brian Branch is he's listed as a corner, but he's more of a hybrid guy. He's more of a slot guy.
He's been playing in the league a long time.
Yes, and he can do all that
Yes.
stuff. But you know what? We don't need is a guy like
Agreed,
that in
agreed.
this particular
I was
moment
I was
because
talking
we
about Banks.
got some dudes like him.
And
Exactly.
Ken Harris and all the board has been talking about.
Exactly.
I misspoke.
Exactly.
I do have.
Well, I
to
said
find-
Keontae because I meant to say Deontay. We've been following this guy, and we don't know a
Yes.
ton about him, but we know what type of athlete he is, and we understand that he checks all the boxes mid first round.
Yeah.
He does.
Well, and you know what? That backs
He
up.
just doesn't have a daddy that played in the league for 15 years.
Yes, and we talked. This kind of gets back to what my point was: is there was another Maryland defensive back who's been more highly valued in the draft. You know, coming into this draft, and I'm going to mess up his name because I already messed up Deontay's name. But Deontay Banks is the guy who, if you watch how he played,
You're
actually.
talking about
Not-
he was in
not
New
Carlton
England.
Banks.
He was in New England. He was leading the
Oh,
league.
No.
it actually was Carlton Banks. He was first team all conference.
Carlton Banks.
Yes.
Yes.
He
Carlton
was
Banks. God.
also
He can move. He could seriously move. But there's another
Ricky.
Maryland.
Him and Ricky Schroeder, I think, were first team all corners. I think it was.
Right.
The train came out and it was perfect.
That's silver spoons.
It
That's
really is.
amazingness.
It really is. That's why we need to end this night because I have to pee so bad. Yeah, so bad. I have to pee so bad.
I've been peeing all night.
All right, everybody, appreciate your time. We're gonna use that as an opportunity to get out of here. The reason why you see us kind of looking slightly this way is because we can see what the shot is. We're gonna.
And I got
continue-
fried. I look so red.
I know, and I've actually been on vacation, and you look redder than me.
I've been watching baseball for 5 days, getting fried. I put lotion on once. That wasn't this week.
Can you use tea to
And you
demonstrate
definitely put it in
to
the wrong
demonstrate for
spot.
the court where you applied the lotion?
Oh yes, like the.
Yes, no. Use
Does
tea.
that look good when
Use
I did
tea,
it?
Use tea.
Oh,
Spread it around. Spread it around.
I don't want to touch it.
Oh, with the sound effects? Can you hear that on the board?
But at least at my house we get the spray at Costco. It's like 3 of them for like $10.
Spray?
NES teeth are not floating. Not yet. Not yet. But they will be soon. They will be soon. We'll be back next Tuesday. We're going to clean up this rough draft. We're going to talk about the probably. Let's focus on 4 guys.
We
who
have to
believe
focus next week.
who will be available for us at number 16. That's what we're going to whittle this down to based on the information between now and next Tuesday evening. We're going to have a couple other surprises for you in store next Tuesday night on Thank God It's Tuesday. He's Kevin Ricka.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone hanging in this late, this long, and your patience is freaking tremendous.
He's Tim Strachan.
I second everything Kevin just said.
Does everyone have to pee? Does everyone just have to pee right now? Is that what's
I'm peeing right
That's
now.
what's going on. Okay, fair enough.
When I'm done, a little fart comes out.
Appreciate everybody. See you
I
next
do
week.
know that. I do know that.
But if I
Brett?
just fart a little pee, never
We
mind.
appreciate you. Manner speaking. Ken, NES, Greg, EO, Robert Cohen, AGH, all the people who are going to be watching this between now and next Tuesday night.
AGH.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, if you haven't already done it and you've watched us this far, click the subscribe button. It's free. If you see or hear anything that you might like, give us a thumbs up. No one even knows what happens to those thumbs, except for Kevin, and we don't ask him about it. That's between Kevin and the thumbs. That's
Does
a
anyone
Kevin.
have a lighter? Is there a lighter in the
That's
building?
a Kevin. It's client thumb agreement. It's a client thumb
Kevin
privilege.
And the thumbs.
We just don't even talk about it. It's we're still live.
Shut.
I'm Ken Marangolo. This was Thank God It's Tuesday. We are still live. I don't have to stand up from this chair because I'm just gonna do this.
I mean, like,